Welcome back to the Pit and Paddock Racing Show for episode 19 of 2025. Formula One ended their European homecoming in Catalonia, Spain for the Separatist Grand Prix, where it was another McLaren domination, but surprise third for Leclerc, thanks to the safety car intervention.
Oh, that was handy. Some good Ferrari strategy?
Yeah, because...
Luck? More luck, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was luck.
All those European announcers kept harping on the entire weekend about how hot it was in Spain. Like every practice session, qualifying. Oh, it's so hot out here. So finally I pulled my phone up, checked Barcelona. 82 degrees was the temperature. 82. I would consider opening my window almost at that temperature.
Yeah, there were a bunch of English people mostly.
Actually, the other day it was raining and the temperature was 87 here, so stop whining.
Yeah. Lando Norris continues his battle against Lando Norris with a slow start that cost him a spot, but he eventually got it back because the McLarens are just too fast.
Is it just whichever one of them wins the pole pretty much gets the race?
Yeah,
that's what it seems like.
That's pretty. Isn't that what the Ferrari team principal said back in China? It's just going to be a qualifying series for the rest of the year because they're so close.
Good news.
So the whole flexi wing thing made no difference.
No, nothing changed.
Yeah.
Unless not having a flexi wing really helped out the Saubers for some reason.
Yes, Sauber's the only one that did better, huh? P5.
Pretty much.
Is that their first points of the year? Probably.
Yeah, good for Nico. Yeah, the Ferraris were like, 7 seconds back by lap 7. It's pretty much wrapped up.
Yeah, it was pretty uneventful until lap 55 when Kimi Antonelli brought out the promoter's safety car. All the leaders pitted for soft tires except Max. He only had hards left. And he was quickly passed by Leclerc on the restart.
Max gave Russell a bit of a cup check there after being forced to give that spot back.
That was the most exciting thing in the race.
That's after the safety cars. Max, he got by Max. Max did not like that. He had to let him back.
Yeah, well, Max passed him on the off lane.
Oh, that's right.
And then he complained, well, he forced me off. I had no choice, so I get to keep the spot.
That off lane was a little questionable. It didn't really lose you any time if you just went straight through it. They need a little something up more in there to slow everyone down.
So when his team told him you have to let Russell by, and he whined, and he whines a lot when he's not doing well.
Yeah, that's right.
And so he finally let Russell by, but then gave him a good wheel bang as he went.
It slipped out of my hands.
Oh, don't know what happened there. He only got a 10-second penalty for that. You think it should have been more?
No. No, I don't mind a little wheel banging. Not as much as Formula One does, though. So,
is that considered rubbing?
Rubbin. That's what would have been my retort over the radio. I was just rubbing.
It's a rubbing incident.
Rubbin son is racing. Was that bad strategy from Red Bull or just bad luck?
I'm going to say bad luck. Although, how do you end up at the end of the race with nothing but a set of hards?
Was it been better to just not pit for tires? And I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. It might have been a bad call. They later found out that giving the spot back to Russell wasn't necessary. The stewards later said, oh yeah, they weren't even looking at that. So he never had to, they could have avoided all that and the 10-second penalty and everything if they would have just left him alone.
Whoops.
But I think Russell would have got past him anyway. Those hard tires were awful.
He was lucky to stay where he did.
Well, we're still with Yuki Tsunoda and the mystery of the cursed car. Started last and finished 13th.
Is Yuki ready to switch back to the other Red Bull team yet?
Wow. I'm wondering.
You've got Lawson and Haji, who almost put in better showings weekly than he does in that car. What did they do to that car?
It's cursed. Nobody can drive it but Max.
Someone should switch Max into the other car one week and see what happens.
Yeah, just see if it's really cursed. I think they developed that car around Max, and he's got such a unique driving style, and nobody else can do it.
God, that's gotta be what it is, and everyone else is like, what's going on with this car?
In the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix, Hamilton was passed by a Sauber. He said it was the worst race he'd ever experienced, except for that time Nicole from the Pussycat Dolls showed up in his pit garage.
Oops. They said there was damage to the car, but Ferrari won't say what the damage was.
Huh, I wonder. Oh, yeah. Why is Hamilton doing so bad? Why did he get passed by a Sauber? There was damage to the car.
What's damaged? The car.
Don't worry about it.
We can't talk about it. Yeah. The fact that it was Ferrari, is that the damage? Lance Stroll didn't race after a hand injury earlier in the day. Flavio was seen slamming Stroll's hand repeatedly into a car door. Completely unrelated reason. Although missing a race shouldn't affect the standings at all because he was never going to score anyway.
Yeah, so he's the reverse DEI candidate.
They probably saved fuel money, just by parking the car for the day.
Yeah, at least it didn't get crashed.
Oh, that's true. Another way to save money.
Fernando Alonso finally got some points at his home race in the separatist state of Catalonia, after the race strategists remind him that the next 12 races are also in Spain.
Maybe he looked like he was performing harder in that race.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, just tell him every race is in Spain. There you
go. Next up for Formula One, they get a week off, and then Canada for the 51st state of the U.S. Grand Prix.
Oh, it's nice to have 4 Grand Prix in your country, I guess.
I'm thinking, we should annex Canada, but we should make it 2 states. Like West Canada and East Canada.
More of like a province, so they don't actually have like voting rights. Kind of like Puerto Rico.
Trial basis, you're a province for a decade, and then...
I don't trust how they vote recently, so...
That's what I'm saying. If you divide it into 2, like the west side is conservative and the east side is liberal, so you get like 2 even, each side gets a senator. That should work.
Okay. NASCAR was in Nashville for the Cracker Barrel 400.
Where the Cracker 400.
The Cracker 400.
It's a different thing.
Oh, okay, I see. Nashville. Ryan Blaney finally did not blow it, and Carson Hocevar finished second, and Hammy got a 3rd place finish.
You know what? Denny Hamlin, for his icon, should have Hammy from Toy Story, the little pink pig.
I like that name better.
Yeah. Didn't Blaney lose engines like the last 2 or 3 times he was close to winning?
Engines, pit stops, something. I don't know. He's had like 3 or 4 races he looked like he could win this year and just fell apart at the end.
What happened to Joey Baby? He looked like he was a contender there up until the end, and he just faded.
Yeah, he was up top 5 most of the day, and then I guess his car just wasn't there at night. I guess we could jump into some race highlights. Chase Briscoe started first. Hammy got by him with 10 to go, though, and there goes the entire stage.
Long as you are in front on the last lap.
Pretty much. Not eventful. Lap 70, Bubba was complaining of a spongy pedal, whatever that means.
I thought he was talking about, like, birth control or something. I wasn't really sure.
He was probably just as bored as everyone else.
Yeah.
Came in lap 83. Kyle Larson was having a rough day, struggling to stay on the lead lap. I think he got a lap down at 1 or 2 points of the race.
How is he so far back? Then, like, he's dominated or been up front all the time, and then all of a sudden he can't get around the track?
No. Well, finished the race in 9th, though, somehow, so he did come back. I guess he just wanted to see how many people he could pass.
At the end of stage 1, was there some kind of team orders blocking going on there?
Oh, it kind of looked like it.
Is that allowed in NASCAR?
I don't think much isn't allowed in NASCAR.
Yeah, everything's allowed in NASCAR.
Speaking of which, Carson Hocevar just decided that Ricky Stenhouse was in the way and took him out.
Does everybody spin Ricky Stenhouse?
That's why we call him Ricky Spinhouse.
I did appreciate about lap 168. Blaney, Byron, and Hamlin did put on some racing with
That,
the lead battle.
that was a pretty good 10 or 12 lap stretch, all three of them switching back and forth. I think Blaney ended up getting the lead and ended the stage with the win.
NASCAR would do better if they would just loop those 12 laps over and over again and tell you it's the race.
They really would. That's why we have Atlanta and Daytona and Talladega set up like that. Blaney pretty much held on to the lead through all of stage 3, as long as, his engine held together. And he won the race, finally, while being dominant.
Oh man, his donuts were awful at the end. He massacres more donuts than cops on a stakeout.
Yeah, that was a little rough.
Wow, he could not get that car to spin around.
He was probably thinking about it all year, but he kept crashing or blowing up, so he never got the chance.
My boy Cold Custard was a disappointing 19th.
That's higher than average, I guess.
Yeah,
I'd take it.
he needs to step up. What is this? He's Haas, right?
Yeah.
They haven't really done well since Tony Stewart left.
No, they're down to the one car now.
Oh,
They've sold the other 3. So,
Tony Stewart left to start a hot dog and burrito stand.
he's drag racing now.
Oh, that's right.
He's like, I'm tired of dealing with NASCAR. I'm out of here.
Sure, better. Hey, it's time for paint jobs for the Nashville Cracker 400. What did you like this week?
I think my favorite one was the number 88 SVG. Had the Red Bull livery this time. I think it looks a lot better when it's not slamming into Mercs all the time.
Wait, there's no Mercedes cars, but there is that one Michael Jordan car that looks like a Mercedes symbol on the front.
The Jumpman that kind of looks like a Mercedes.
Yeah, so we could just get SVG to bang into him a few times.
Just like Sunday.
I went with, they were all awful, but Priest in the 60 car had some shiny chrome numbers, so that was my choice this week.
Kind of lame this week, yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Nothing exciting.
My worst car was the number 44 car driven by, I don't know, he was 40 laps down at the end of the race, but sponsored by Fanatics, who is a terrible company because everything they make is just overpriced, low-quality garbage. And they have a monopoly on all the Pro Leagues merchandise as well. Another reason to dislike Fanatics.
They don't make fans?
No, they exploit fans.
Only fans?
Oh, no.
Worst car? Zane Smith in the number 38 Mystic Lubricants, because that's a highly improper sponsor for a family sport like stock car racing. Mystic Lubricants. What are you thinking?
He was really jamming that car into some tight spaces during the race, though.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Good lubricants.
A deal with Jim France, who owns NASCAR and Spire Motorsports, planned to run a 4th car at Sonoma, fell through this week. It turned out they were going to be sponsored by National Public Radio, so that got axed immediately.
They got some money cut from their budget, didn't they?
Yeah, it's too bad.
AJ Allmendinger started the Nashville race with a penalty for a splitter adjustment after inspection, which I guess you're not allowed to make changes to your car after inspection.
No, someone should tell Penske, I guess. Interesting.
Maybe that's where the Penske engineers went when they got fired with the Allmendinger's team. Allmendinger was penalized by starting last, having a stop and go after the green flag, and he had to wear a NASCAR Pride t-shirt for the rest of the weekend.
Man, harsh.
Yeah.
Harsh penalties.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't mess with the car.
It wasn't even actually June yet, I don't think, was it? No, it was the first day of June.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
June
go.
1st. Next up, Michigan Speedway for the We Promise Not Everything is Like Detroit Grand Prix. That's this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'll be in Michigan, but not for like 2 weeks.
Oh. You should have done these weeks. You can hit up Detroit and then go to the NASCAR race the next weekend.
I know. I took a picture of the the Detroit Grand Prix, like, the opening shot with the city and everything. And I sent it to my father-in-law, and I said, we have to plan family vacation better. It needs to happen when IndyCar's in town.
IndyCar followed up the biggest race of the year by going to Detroit for the Loose Wheel Nut Grand Prix, where Kyle Captain Kirk Kirkwood gave Andretti its second win of the year. Santino Ferrucci found his way from 21st to 2nd, and Colton Herta managed to turn pole position into a 3rd, which, as I guess, is an improvement from his usual something, whatever
Screwing
happens.
It up somehow. Yeah. Yeah, Herta did start on pole, and I don't know what happened.
Well, normally he would have crashed or had a terrible pit stop and finished down in the points.
It's kind of like a win for him, then.
Yeah, pretty good. Well, let's start back at practice and qualifying, where Will Power wins the Paul Tracy Chrome Horn Award after he uses his bumper on Captain Kirk. That was...
Someone gave him the nickname Will. Instead of Will Power, he's Will Plower.
Will Plower. I saw that. That was pretty funny. The announcers really had a good time with it also.
Apparently that front wing's stronger than it looks. Before the race, Rahal and Dixon both got 6-spot grid penalties for some kind of confusing engine change rule during the IndyCar. I don't know. I read it like 3 times. I couldn't figure out what the problem was. When I read it, it sounds like if you're a one-off driver, you can get a fresh engine without a penalty. But if you're a series driver, you're hosed.
You have to keep the Indy 500 engine and keep using it after running it for a full month of practice and everything?
I don't know what happened, but you need a team of lawyers to figure out what that was all about.
I do know you can't modify your car after inspection, at least.
Penske can vouch for that. Well, in race highlights, Captain Kirk wins despite having a broken front wing.
Did he take his broken wing and learn to fly again?
I think he did.
Oh, that's gorgeous. So lap 18, Scotty Mack pulled a Will Power on Nolan Siegel there. Just right out of the way.
That front wing acts kind of like a wedge, like a jack. Wedge jack goes like right up under and lifts the back of the other car
Or
up nicely.
rear grip when they do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a short track version of a street course. A lot of contact.
Oh yeah, Detroit's fun for that. It feels like a NASCAR mile and a half with all the bumping.
Hitting stuff, hitting walls.
It does make for an interesting race. And I really like the double-sided pit lane.
That is really neat.
Yeah.
You get a lot of cars, just a great view of the pit stops when they come out too.
They need to do more of that especially on street courses where they can, they have the opportunity to do that.
Save a lot of space on street courses with that one. I noticed that the cars don't disintegrate automatically when they hit the concrete barrier, kind of like the F1 cars do. That's kind of nice.
F1 cars break a lot more, don't they? Right about lap 19, Francesco, how do you say his name?
Devlin. We'll call him Devlin.
Devlin left his tire at turn 6 after parking in front of a liquor store for more than 5 seconds in Detroit.
You know what? He's lucky to have the other 3, actually.
Yeah.
And then here we go, lap 33. Graham Rahal has his standard bad luck wheel nut problem on a pit stop once again.
Are we back to Graham the Unlucky?
It seems like he had like a couple weeks off there, and
yeah,
actually this weekend looked pretty good.
Yeah, when did he qualify 5th?
He was top 6 qualifier.
And then he got the penalty. Started 11th, but he was doing great.
Doing well, and then, pit stops. Can't have the wheel nut working.
Yeah. Did he, the first time he stopped, they just didn't get it on. He had to come back in, but then it took him a long time to get it back on.
And something might have been broken, or it wouldn't connect correctly.
It looked like they had cross-threaded the wheel nut or something.
That's probably what it was. Lost all track position.
Graham the Unlucky.
And then we had another one on lap 6K7 when Callum Ihop crashes when his wheel falls off.
Hence the Loose Wheel Nut Grand Prix.
Loose Wheel Nut Grand Prix.
25 to go. That's when Santucci comes out P1 after the pit stop. Like, how, I don't know how he went from 22 and all of a sudden 25 to go and he's in P1.
The luckiest pit stop call of all time earlier in the race that got him out of strategy.
Paul Tracy used to call that dumpster diving.
Well, it worked.
Every once in a while it works. And then after that, Pablo crashes and the world celebrates. After Mucus heard our pleas for an IndyCar goon.
He was a week late on that one.
Oh, yeah. He couldn't have crashed into him at Indy. That would have been better.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Not that we want to see Pablo suffer. We're just tired of seeing him win all the time. If it takes a goon to make the race interesting.
That's true.
He wasn't doing that great at Detroit anyway.
No, he was out of the top 5, which is probably the only time he's been out of the top 5 all season.
Yeah, we need him to crash a few more times to make the points race interesting. 17 to go. Racin and Foster were in the wall after Foster's suspension breaks in a spectacular crash.
Oh, that was a big one.
Yeah, brought out the red flag.
That was just driving, and you see it shatter, and he swerves right into the wall, and he's going 100 and probably, what is that, the end of that straightaway? Almost 200 there? 190?
Bounces into a couple more cars.
That was pretty awesome. Oh, and he was also a Team Rahal car, I believe. Another mechanical failure there.
The whole team is cursed. Unless Takuma is on it, then they do good.
Every single car had a failure of some sort.
They need to bring Takuma back. He's the only one that ever does well.
Just have him hang out with the team at least or something if he's not.
Oh, yeah. And then on the restart after the red flag, Will Power becomes a moving chicane for I don't know why. And then he figures out how to race again and battles Herta for the last 2 laps for 3rd place. Herta was out of push to pass, though.
No. Well, that's how we know Herta is in a Penske car, I suppose.
Penske cars don't run out of push to pass.
No, that's all race long, as much as they need.
I'm going to give the Dork Award to Connor Daly's team with the Barney the Dinosaur livery.
That was a little purple.
Yeah. What are they? They taking turns? Every week somebody gets the purple?
You have to. At least he didn't wet himself in the car this week.
And, back to Herta. How did he throw away a pole to end up 3rd anyway? He can't blame his pit crew this time. They didn't screw up.
God, he just kind of got shoved out of the way on the restarts there. I remember, was it the opening? Did somebody just get right by him in the first lap?
Yeah.
Just went, excuse me, bump.
Got to get a little more aggressive. Colton.
That sucks. That means that only Ganassi and Andretti have won races now all season.
Penske's never had a drought this long, have they?
I think they've at least had someone win.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Penske fired its top 3 guys.
Is Kirkwood the only Andretti driver that's won in like the past 4 years too? It seems like Herta got a win late last year, that's right.
Newgarden won the Indy 500 last year.
Newgarden got one.
Which is the most important race to win for your sponsors.
At the Detroit Grand Prix, Santino Ferrucci was fined $25,000 for being 1.8 pounds underweight. He also lost his second-place driver points for not using a homophobic slur during Pride Month when Fox ratings are down.
Last year he made the homophobic slur.
Was that to his friend Kyle Kirkwood?
Was it Kirkwood that he said, you and your little boyfriend?
I don't remember if it was.
And then he had to go on and do an apology. And then somebody reminded him, oh yeah, it's Pride Month too, by the way.
Surprise.
Pride Month.
Oh, there it is.
I brought out the Rainbow Warriors.
I thought it was Men's Health Awareness Month.
Yes. It's also that.
Oh.
John Oates from the 1980s group Hall & Oates was there as well.
Oh, was he making my dreams come true?
He was trying. It turns out he used to race in some of the support races back in the 80s.
I heard him talking. He raced some IMSA and on the same, well, not the same track, but in Detroit, at least. He drove there before.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Never knew that. That's another few. Well, I know Paul Newman used to drive in IMSA a bit.
Did they call him Maneater?
I hope so.
Next up, IndyCar takes a 2-week recovery period. Then they're on to Illinois for the Bommarito 500.
Kind of sounds like a gas station burrito.
Bommarito?
Bommarito.
I thought it was the Mexican Air Force.
Oh, ooh, yeah, that could be it too.
In unrelated news, in Colorado, an Egyptian migrant was arrested for setting Jews on fire after misunderstanding the Light the Menorah challenge on YouTube.
Oh, quite a big difference.
Yeah, it wasn't what he thought.
No. Oh, no. CNN's Jake Tapper uncovered that the White House was hiding Biden's mental decline. My word, what a brilliant reporter. No one had any idea at all that this was happening. Man, just some great work from Jake Tapper.
Wow.
Just unbelievable. Amazing.
He should probably win the Pulitzer or something for that book.
He probably will. Hey, guys. What a terrible tragedy. We've been covering... Oh, you covered it up. No one noticed.
I uncovered the secret that I was covering up for the past 4 years.
Great job. Yeah, I knew about this the whole time but didn't say anything. Now here's a book to make money. Great.
That's it for the Pit and Paddock Racing show. We'll be back next week for... We only have NASCAR next week.
Only NASCAR.
Yeah, but we're going to fill it in with some interesting and funny things.
I'm sure we will.